Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Get Ethereal. It's your gal Lauren here for the astrology of the week of 4/27. Happy Monday. It's a full moon week, and the full moon in Scorpio is always kind of like the most intense full moon of the year, regardless of how it's aspected. Just because Scorpio, it's my favorite sign, by the way, is so deep and intuitive, but it's kind of like this intense of all the water signs, it's the intense one. And the moon represents our emotions. And so when it's at its peak, full moon, in a emotional water sign, just know I want y'all to plan ahead for maybe perhaps an intense emotional week, particularly the second half of the week. Okay. So it's a full moon week. We get a new month this week. So we're heading into May. April was wild and unexpected. And it's a blue moon month, so I'll talk about that in a bit. But before we get into the astrology, let's talk about the numerology, okay? So we are finishing up the first few days of this week before Friday in our 5 month. The collective 1 year, so regardless of your personal year, what is being colored into your personal year is that we are all the collective in a 1 year. The one is about fresh new starts. It's going to push us into like, who are you becoming now? Are you going to take that step, that leap, that chance? Are you going to dare to change it up? Are you going to dare to do something that you're really excited by? Are you going to start fresh? And then each month gets layered in. And so April has been a 5 month, which is at its best very kind of surprising, exciting, social, busy, romantic, flirty. At its worst, it can be very destabilizing. It can feel a little anxious and it can feel like, oh, I thought this was happening and then it just got taken or changed or redirected or pivoted. So April has made us all have to be flexible, okay? So what if you're looking back at this month, what maybe didn't happen as you hoped, but can you see why? In the 5 month, it's typically saying these things that needed to be pivoted away from were going to be in the way of your freedom or your like flexibility in life or your individuality. Okay, so things that needed to change. Hopefully, you got pretty like excited and flexible instead of in control mode. This full moon is going to bring up control, by the way. And now we move into the 6 on Friday. Okay, so we still most of the week have this 5 energy. So let yourself be surprised. Things can change. We're still under that new moon in Aries with all that Aries energy because new moons last very potently for 2 weeks, or if you want to think about it, until the next new moon, which would be 4 weeks. But I like to say, like, at least the new moon to the full moon, which we're in until Friday, it's saying like the moon is still growing, okay, from the new moon. That was an intense new moon with all the Aries energy. And it was with Chiron. So we are all kind of like insecure, self doubt. There was a delay with Saturn, but motivation and energy. And so the moon is still growing. Okay. If you can't see me visibly, I'm making a signal of the moon growing. So you can think of whatever you put into motion, intentions, manifestations, when the moon is in growing mode from the new moon to the full moon, just think of those intentions manifesting, growing, expanding. And so we can still cultivate and tend to our manifestations, okay? Until Friday, we reach like that culmination moment, full moon moment. I went on a tangent back to the 6 month. We're entering a 6 month on Friday as well. So more on the astrology in a bit. But the difference between the 5, so we've got the growing moon and the rest of the 5 month for Monday through Thursday. Enjoy it. Maybe some more surprises are in store or some things coming in that you've really been hoping for. Okay, be flexible. Once we hit Monday, we'll talk more about the astrology, which is pretty intense, in a good way, in a good way. But the 6, I like, not to favor numbers, but the 3 and the 6 are pretty great. I personally like a 5. But I think most people would argue that it's a little too unnerving. The 6, I think, is everybody's favorite. I think of when we talked about the numerology of spaces. You remember how I said like the 6 is the ultimate home? It's the cozy vibe. Just think of the 6 month. These are the themes: home, family, environment, deepening relationships. It's definitely a love month of the love numbers. The 2 and the 6, okay, are the numbers for love. Just think of 6 as like, oh, this can be a lasting relationship. Who and what is worthy of time, energy, and commitment? Those are going to be on the docket. Whereas the 5 last month into the rest of this week, it's more of like the dating, the romance, the flirt, the travel, the fun. And then the 6 is saying who gets to stick, what gets to stick. Okay, so this month leading into the first, there could be relationship decisions. Okay, I think it might get highlighted in May. Maybe you don't see long term with this thing, project, person, commitment, and it's time to change it up. There could be just straight on the nose, like family dynamic boundary stuff, or stuff about your physical home and space, like maybe you're considering moving or redecorating, or talking about moving in, talking about family planning, all of these themes. Like, of course, you're going to be doing these things regardless if your numerology is changing. But I always say, like, knowing what the energy of the number is, if anything, we get to like take a look and a peek at those themes in our lives. So this is this month to really look into who and what makes me feel safe, who and what makes me feel at home. Maybe I need to nurture myself more. It is the tough side of the 6 is over giving, over nurturing, not having the boundaries. And so maybe this is the month where you get to really cater to your own emotional needs. If you tend to overgive, my challenge for you as we enter May is to, dare I say, receive more. Okay. So there can also, at the tough side of 6 is like responsibilities, of like, I've got to take care of this thing, this person, this project, that's worthy of more long-term commitment. Okay. So relationship focused month for sure, relationships of all kinds, because it is kind of the deeper relationships. This isn't like the social of like the 3 or the 5, like more friends and networky. This is more of like, close friends, like partners, in business, and then romantic partnerships as well. Okay. And then, of course, your physical home. Physical home. Feng Shui. We already did an episode on that, but like go back and listen to it if you haven't, of that segment. Just know my episodes, like if there's a lesson segment, you can always just go back and re-listen to that, and ignore the astrology of the week. Okay. So that explains the 5 into the 6. What feels activating in the 5 this week is kind of landing into, is this going to stick around in the 6? Okay. Since we're teetering both numbers, I kind of love this. So yeah, I'm hoping, especially now that we're in Earth energy, Earth season of Taurus season, I feel like May is going to feel much more grounding, and I feel like some manifestations are going to be coming through in May. Okay, so let's look at the astrology. Reminder that we have all planets direct. Okay, here's this for today, Monday, April 27th. Okay, we have all the planets direct. Reminder, but Pluto, the planet that rules this full moon coming up on Friday, is going retrograde on the 6th. So we'll talk more about it next week, but do know, like, Pluto is the slowest moving planet, so retrograde's half the year. So I don't give it as much emphasis as far as like retrograde. It's not like you feel it every day. It's not like a Mercury retrograde or a Venus or a Mars. Okay, those 3 are the ones that really we notice. Okay, so just a heads up, I'm probably going to still say that through until July, when Mercury goes retrograde June 29th, everything's still full system go. Okay, so we got all planets direct, a full moon week. Let's ride. We get the moon in Virgo all through today. Hopefully you got a little organized, even if it's just in your brain trying to compartmentalize. We still have a jacked Aries sky. We've got at least these guys separating from each other. You see, they each have like a nice amount of space between. Whereas before, last week, they were all operating as one. Okay. When the planets all conjunct, meaning they get clustered on top of each other, they kind of had this like, um, they become one. Like who wins? It's confusing. Now they're all separating a bit. Okay. Um, Mars is still kind of with Saturn. Mars is getting sassy in the sky too. Okay. Saturn's doing good. Neptune's doing real cute shit. Reminder that we closed last week with a Neptune sextile Venus, and Venus is really active this week. I'm excited to talk about her. You know, Venus and Jupiter are like the ones that we want to have big weeks because they're just fun. Okay, so on Monday we have the Sun in Taurus sextile, ease and flow, the North Node in Pisces, both at 7 degrees, as you can see. So subtle, I mean, Neptune or North Node is not a planet. So just know that it is like more of a, just think of the North Node as like direction, where you need to go. It's like destiny, future. And so when the sun kind of like this, I think of it as a light bulb because the sun is so bright. It's saying like, oh, maybe there's like a little path or an aha moment illuminating for you. Okay. This could be like alignment type of energy. Think of Taurus as stability, Pisces is more of the intuition. I like these two energies together because like Taurus is very grounded. I think of like earthy, magical, sensual energy, and then Pisces is that creative, imaginative. And so it's kind of a day where like something may feel like, oh, this could be long term. Something subtle maybe clicks. Um, think of it, maybe it's in your body because Taurus is so like grounded. So get grounded on the rest of the day. I'm going to a sound bath tonight. So I think it's going to be good. Try to get out of your head into your body. This is still going to be active tomorrow into Tuesday, as is everything I talk about. I always say this every week. Even though I'm telling you the exact dates, like we get all of this all week. Okay. Let's go ahead and look into tomorrow, Tuesday. We got the moon moving into Libra, the sign of the lovers. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is doing cute shit today. So moon in Libra, it's going to bring up for these 2 days, like the balance, the reciprocity in relationships. So I think that just pay attention to like what needs balance in your life. Do you feel like you're getting supported? Are you supporting people? Beautiful thing to just check in with. Okay, and the moon is very active. But Venus, the planet that rules this, look at all the blue lines coming from her. She will be sextiling Saturn at the end of the week. We'll talk about it more, but I can already see this building. Okay, but on Tuesday we have Pluto, the planet of intensity, passion, this vulnerability, this planet of intimacy and merging in like depths. It rules Scorpio. And when it's in trine, we look at the positive versions of Pluto because Pluto can be pretty nasty motherfucker when it's in harsh aspects. So just the heads up, the end of May, we have a Mars square Pluto. So that's going to be a news moment. Okay. Y'all saw what happens when Mars squares Uranus. Mars and Pluto are similar. So heads up. But Pluto is being kind. It is sextile to Venus. This brings intense attraction. Let me talk about love first. I think this is one of the most interesting relationship aspects of the week. I think of Venus's connection, worthiness, love, flirty. When it's in Gemini, it is very flirty. It loves a mental boner. It loves a conversation. It loves to be maybe a little distracted by options. So those on the dating apps, I'm like, okay, sometimes many is not as cool as like, let's have a stimulating conversation with somebody. Okay. And that's what this Pluto energy brings, because Venus in Gemini is flirty, especially when it hit Uranus. It's like, ooh, what else is there? I need to be free so I can explore all these different options. When it meets up with Pluto, it's saying that feels a little flat. I'm too deep to swim in the shallow pond of casual. That's how I feel. I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like dating is so frustrating in that way. It's like there's more out there, so let me not dive deep. I'm like, if I like somebody, I'm gonna hone in on that and I want to get to know them and have fun and play and all these things. Anyways, this is gonna crave, okay, maybe I want to go deeper with somebody. And that's fun. Venus in Gemini wants to have fun, wants to flirt. But this is saying it can be fun to go deep. Like and like have your mind think differently. Okay. So this could represent just a craving of more depth if you're looking for love. This could be intense passion, chemistry, because Pluto is intensity and magnetism, and it rules sex, death, rebirth. And so it's just like, I want to merge with that person. So be careful of instant attraction. But it can be as simple as a powerful conversation. Um, these are air signs. This is ideas as well. There can be a truth being revealed about somebody's intentions if it is coming with love, or this can be a really great creative aha peak moment, because I think of Venus as just like art, beauty, aesthetics. But it's in Gemini, so that absolutely could be writing, speaking, teaching, mentoring, guiding, ideas, your mindset. This could be a mindset shift. This could shift how you see somebody. You could all of a sudden hear from somebody that you thought like was dead in the water. You could change your mind about somebody in the opposite direction, okay? But this is curiosity meets, so curiosity of Gemini, Venus, intrigue, right? Meets intensity and depth and honesty. This is light on the surface with Venus, but like really deep underneath. My kind of favorite vibe and combination, to be honest. Okay. So because Pluto's involved, what's said now, may tend to matter more long term than expected. You may get right to the heart of something. I always say Pluto can be like, I see through you and I can get right into your insecurities, or I can get right into what you need. And Pluto wants vulnerability and intimacy. Okay. So if you're craving those things, if you avoid those things, if you push those things away and you say it's, I'm just overwhelmed, maybe it must not be right, or I want to have my options open, this week is going to call you on that a little bit. If you are in the receiving end of that and you're more of like, I just feel like I'm an option, but I don't seem to have options, maybe the scales are going to flip in your favor. Okay. All right. Let's look into Wednesday. That's my favorite thing this week is Venus trine Pluto, because that's kind of like my favorite combo. Light and fun, but underneath, let's get real. Okay. All right, we still have the moon in Libra here. We have Venus, that same bitch, squares the nodes today. Okay, as we get towards the end of the evening, they'll both be at 7 degrees. I think similar to when the sun was sextile in North Node, it's a subtle. Okay, this could be when you're like, because it's a square, you got to look at, what isn't working. How can you change it? That's what a square provides, is like tension so that you release it. With the North Node, it's saying what's in the way of where I'm going, okay? And so this could be a relationship checkpoint. So if somebody did come in and say something and brought intensity, or there's chemistry on a date, but then the next day you're assessing like, is this in alignment with where I'm going? So it's like, who's in alignment with your direction, or what if love isn't on your mind? A decision about what you value could be in the cards, or recognizing when something isn't growing with you anymore. This could be a part of you. Could be a part of how you share, Gemini, Venus. Is it in alignment, Pisces, with your authentic, like, subconscious, the way you move through what you feel? And so there could be like, oh, I no longer enjoy this. I think of Venus like enjoyment, love, appreciation, and value. A square to North Node is saying maybe I'm re-examining those things and what does feel good to me. Okay, I'm feeling intuitively right now. I don't know why it's coming through, but I'm like, May might be a month where you could totally reinvent your life. I don't know why that's coming through. Maybe it's for me. Okay, because this is not an aspect that does that, so it's coming from somewhere else. Okay, but Venus is so loud this week with all these things. It's talking to Pluto, then the North Node's going to talk to Saturn. So this is a very loud love month, especially with Moon in Libra. Okay, and a 6 month in May, saying commit, deepen, new because it's a 1 year. New relationships could emerge. Okay. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you're on this call or listening or watching and you're like, I am partnered, I don't care about love, just know this is like maybe how you want to share, get involved with communities, collaborations, how you share your knowledge, or what do you want to learn? What are you interested in? This is the sky saying like, what makes your mind excited? Not like the blasé stuff we have to do every day. Okay. All right. Thursday, Moon into Scorpio. I have to say it like the Scorpio is so intense. Okay. So even though the full moon's Friday, the moon has entered Scorpio on Thursday. We will be feeling this full moon building. So heads up. Okay. With full moons, if you don't know, I talk about this in my workbook, I talk about it in every moon event, but whatever season it is, put it in quotes, air quotes, we're in Taurus season, meaning the sun is in Taurus. So whatever sign the sun is moving through, that's the season we're in. So that's where we get the birth month zodiac shit. That simplified astrology and made everybody eye roll over astrology and how simple and how, of course, that makes sense for you. It makes sense for anybody. Anywho, Taurus. Taurus is all about security, consistency, reliability. I think of Taurus as like, I'm standing on solid, real reality ground. What do I got to do to make my money, survive, the food I put in my body, the home, the possessions that I have, the safety and security as far as money or the people that I surround myself with. But it's more of that practical, real world stuff. And it's very grounded, unshakable. Scorpio, it's opposite sign. And so that's where I'm like, the full moon always brings in the balance, right? So if there's stability and security, staying grounded with Taurus, there's the depth, the truth, the vulnerability, and emotional honesty when it comes to Scorpio. So what they both really love is safety. Scorpio wants to feel safe and secure as far as like vulnerability, intimacy, souls merging. This is a sex sign. It's also the sign, funny enough, of shared resources. So if you want to think of back in the day, usually you only fucked people that you were merging like after marriage, and then you merge all of your assets together. So it's like Scorpio's like, do I trust this person with my body and with my money is kind of the vibe. So Scorpio hands it over to like, okay, I need security and trust and intimacy and financial stability within partnerships. And then Taurus is like what I'm providing for myself. Okay. So both really care about safety. They just define it very differently. One's very practical, Taurus. One's very emotional and deep and intimate, Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio likes to transform things. And so if you look at these together, just think of what do you need to change, transform, end, Scorpio, full moon is a peak, that's in like, that would make you feel more safe and secure. What patterns or emotions or tendencies, wounds, fears, Scorpio themes, are in the way of maybe manifesting, whether it's abundance, money, feeling safe and secure in your nervous system, feeling safe and secure in relationships, since that's such a theme this week. Scorpio is going to reveal, like, maybe it's, I always love attachment patterns with Scorpio. So I think everybody listening probably knows which attachment style they are, but like, are you anxious attached? Are you avoidant attached? Are you a combo of both? Fearful avoidant, also called disorganized attachment. And then there's secure, of course, which is the goal, which is like that quote unquote healthiest version. Okay. So the Scorpio full moon will illuminate, and we're starting to feel that as early as Thursday. What things do you keep buried that you often don't even want to look at yourself, that are in the way, self-sabotaging your ability to intimately connect with people? Um, and so sometimes what we crave most, we can be in the most fear of. Okay. So that's what attachment styles are about. There's just different fears. Anxious is a fear of, like, basically very simplified, getting like abandoned, being left. And then avoidant is a fear of like being seen fully and having to take on responsibility, or what if I'm not loved once people get to know me deeply. Okay, so take a look at that. I would say emotions will be starting to get loud on Thursday. Anything, Mars is starting to get sassy. Mercury also Mercury and Jupiter are still kind of in a square, so like this could be blunt. It's at the tail end of Aries meeting up with Chiron. This to me is screaming, like, this is probably direct on Friday or Saturday. I'm hurt, so I'm going to say something hurtful. Yeah, I'm hurt, so I'm going to say something hurtful. Mars squaring with Jupiter. I might physically hurt my body if if I try to be a little too wild. Okay. Saturn's being kind, so is Neptune. Okay, good. Yeah. Interesting. Jupiter, y'all know Jupiter and Venus can kind of do no wrong, even in square. The only thing with Jupiter when it's in square, because it's the planet of luck, abundance, happiness, optimism, prosperity, expansion. When it's in square, it can just be like, overdo it. Okay, we can overdo it. All right, come to the moon event for way more on the Scorpio full moon and a really in-depth tarot reading and how does this impact your specific birth chart, because that's the real beauty of astrology. All right, Friday, big day. We've got the full moon in Scorpio. It's going to be at 11 degrees for those that like to find it in your birth chart. I do have a video saved on my YouTube and on my Instagram as a saved reel. If you like to find, where is this 11 degrees Scorpio full moon hitting my birth chart? I'm a Scorpio rising, but this is happening in my 12th house. Okay. So fitting. I am starting EMDR this week because I'm like, okay, I logically understand all these things. Like I literally do it for a living, but my subconscious and nervous system is still like holding on to stuff, because like when my dog got diagnosed with cancer, it flared up caretaking stuff from when I took care of my mom. So I'm like, I'm starting something that's very 12th house full moon. So find where it's hitting you. Okay. With Scorpio, it's going to give a layer of healing or emotions or something buried coming up to the surface. With a full moon in Scorpio, just collectively in the news, there's usually truths revealed, scandals, things that were hidden now being out in the open. So if anybody's misbehaved, expect the news to be juicy. Okay, hopefully not just sad and awful, but things are going to be coming out to play. Skeletons in the closet are coming out to play. For you in your personal life, it's usually just like, okay, I can no longer hide this anymore from myself or from these people, or I gotta say it. Like I said, Mercury and Chiron are together today at the tail end of Aries. Like the end of a sign is always the most potent. Aries is very fast and quick, and those are the same words. But Mercury's communication, you put it in a very fast sign. With Chiron, wounded healer, like I said, you could say something from a hurt, or you can have a healing conversation that gets right to it, and it's really lovely. Okay. This full moon is square to Pluto loosely, 11 degrees to 5, so that's a 6-degree orb. So Pluto happens to rule Scorpio, so we always look at the ruler anyways. Square to Pluto, damn. It's just about like what really matters. Power, power dynamics, intensity. It just gives it a little bit more intensity to the full moon. I think more collectively, there can be power plays, power moves in the news, intense news, like I said, revealing some really shitty behavior out there. But for us in our personal life, it feels like transformation. It's revealing what needs to change in a way. Okay. And maybe in a slap you across the face way because it's a square from Pluto. Pluto's also about to go retrograde in 5 days. So it's revealing what needs to change perhaps before Pluto does go retrograde. Okay. Um, Pluto, when it stations retrograde, the collective attention kind of turns like inward around Pluto themes, which is like power structure, control dynamics, leadership, like systems or straight up leadership. Um, so it's it's like when things get overturned. Okay. But in our personal lives, we don't feel the outer planets retrograde too much. I always say with Pluto, it can like kind of bring up good things in the area of your chart that it's retrograding, which will be 5 degrees of Aquarius to like, I think only to 3 degrees, move so slow, for 5 months. Okay. So where is Pluto in your birth chart? It's Aquarius, 5 degrees. So at the same time, we have Venus, the planet of love. She's sassy this week. Sextile exactly Saturn. We're feeling it all week though. Reminder. So this is really sweet because we had Venus talking to Pluto, bringing in intensity, chemistry, craving depth. Then it talked to North Node and saying who and what is in alignment with my future. So chemistry, does it also have compatibility? Then we get Venus talking to Saturn that's really going to emphasize compatibility long term. Okay. So this will stabilize relationships. This will bring in commitment conversations likely. And this doesn't have to be just in love. Just think, what am I committing to? What did I get excited about in the beginning of the week? And now I'm kind of taking it seriously throughout the rest of the week. Okay. This aspect helps define what is real versus what is temporary. Okay. If something deepens now, it's because it does have the structure underneath it. I think of Saturn as just like stability. Okay. So what in your life that you really appreciate and really crave and love, Venus, how could you put in some more effort? Like, because Saturn takes work. It's not just like, oh, I like this person long term, or I want to commit to this hobby or this job or this like project. It still takes work. So a lot of times, like I think with the Venus trine Pluto, it's saying like, ooh, chemistry, fun, intensity. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be merging with somebody. And then when you get to the Saturn saying like, okay, this person does feel like there's also compatibility and long-term commitment, but oh, that kind of takes work. I really like my autonomy. That's one more thing that I have to now tend to. Yes, it's worth it. Okay. All right. Anything else? I think just know with Mercury conjunct Chiron, I'm sure I said it already, but there can be honest communication, healing conversations. Perhaps people are saying what they were holding back. Maybe like any identity wounds, because it's in Aries, get named. Any insecurities or doubt, you're able to put like a voice behind it or change the mindset. These are Mercury mindset, voice. You could be setting boundaries, self like advocating. Yeah, but be careful of the shots fired bluntness from wounded. Makes me think of like, the wounded animal bites. So who's provoking you? That could be a thing. Mars is squaring Jupiter. Okay. Saturday, Mercury then enters Taurus. Okay. Evening time, basically Sunday. Mercury, the planet of communication, how our minds work, busyness, schedules, routine. Moves from Aries, which is very like fast and like furious, into grounded Taurus. So we're getting more patient and more like intentional with the what we're deciding on and taking into focus. I feel like communication will slow down in a good way. People may mean what they say more. Um, they let's see, what is it doing? It's going to be squaring Pluto as it next week mainly, so we'll talk about it. So yeah, I think plans can become more practical, decisions can be made, and Mercury will spend about 3 weeks in a sign. So over these 3 weeks, starting on Sunday, we've got Mercury putting your head where the sun is also here, saying like, okay, now instead of being a little distracted or starting a bunch of things and maybe not following through when Mercury's in Aries the past 3 weeks, now we get to put a plan in place, or we're going to stick to something, or we could also be more stubborn. Taurus is one of the most stubborn signs. It's a fixed sign, and when Mercury's there, it doesn't like to change its mind. Okay, let's say the moon is also void, of course, all day. I usually don't talk about this on here, but it's happening all day. When the moon is void, of course, it's like when it's not aspecting things before it changes signs. It can feel like a in-between, like we're just floating about. I don't have motivation. So let Saturday, it was all day Saturday. Let Saturday be just, don't put pressure on something to get figured out on Saturday. Okay. It's like integration instead. Okay. Not a day to like force outcomes. It's like rest, reflect, especially after the intensity of the full moon on Friday. Obviously, we feel the full moon days surrounding it, so we're still in that energy, okay? All right. Nothing's really changing Sunday, but just know, I guess, do you have the moon entering Sag, which is much more fun. But just know we'll talk about next week this Jupiter squaring Mars, which we are feeling Saturday and Sunday leading up into the week. I'll remind everybody of it next week, but this can be like Jupiter expands everything. So I think of it fanning the flames of Mars and Aries. Mars is intention, our masculine nature, fighting, it's action, aggression, motivation, energy, go for it vibes, especially in Aries. Mars rules Aries, so it's double that. When it squares to Jupiter, it's like bringing more reactions. Overconfidence can be a thing, over risky. This can, like I said, bring in some accidents. This could be in a good way, taking risks, but just try to think it through, okay? Luckily, Mercury is in Taurus, but you could be pushing something further than you plan to. Watch out of overcommitments, okay? It's very exciting. It's not subtle. So if things feel like they're escalating slightly Sunday into next week, that's the momentum we're heading into, okay? So if I were to sum it all up, this is a big week for, I think, love, because of Venus is so active, and then Scorpio is bringing up the fears and patterns that we have around love and commitment and vulnerability and intimacy. For those not looking for love, it's just also like, well, what interests me? How can I step into that more confidently? And first, of course, we might be bring in some like fears to the surface so that we can address it. I always say with Scorpio, it's like if it doesn't bubble up, we can't change it. Scorpio wants to transform it, transmute it. It's Phoenix from the ashes. It's death and rebirth. It's saying a part of you is no longer, and you're kind of transitioning from the past self or how you would make a decision or how you would like accept that behavior, and now you're no longer. And so you're kind of getting used to this new skin, getting used to this new way of reacting, even if it's in a great way. It's like I'm standing up for myself. I'm stepping into my power. It can feel like I've got to get the hang of my footing, okay? So that's the energy of this week ahead. I think it's pretty intense for us as individuals. As far as the news goes, um, I think it's more of like truths revealed, secrets out in the open, and I don't know. I hope it's like maybe some Epstein, like people get named. That might be later in the month when Mars and Pluto are acting up. Okay. All right. For this week, since we are entering a new month, I figured I would do a tarot reading, just one card pull. Um, Reminder of my moon event, I do three of these, but it's just like set the tone instead of like a pop culture thing, which, Bravo continues to blast off. Um, but instead of a pop culture thing or a lesson, I'm like, let's just give the people what they want, which is perhaps a reading. Okay. So let me pause and shuffle the cards. BRB. Okay. So I just shuffled and pulled on what's a message for everybody collectively for entering in this month of May. Like, what does this week have in store? But also, like, as we enter May. And we got the Magician card. It's called Magus in this deck. Okay. Fantastic card. This is from my She Wolf Tarot deck, which I use for events, and it's one of my favorites. Okay, so the Magician card. If you know the original tarot, it is literally a magician. It's got everything. It's kind of that card of like you possess everything that you need to manifest the life that you want. So it's not just about like taking initiative. It's the moment where you realize perhaps like your reality is responding to how clearly you're choosing. So it's saying like if you really want it, like try to live in that. I know it's kind of annoying, but like try to just focus on the things you do want. If you catch yourself ruminating or worrying about things that you don't want, just know that like the Magician card is saying like the universe listens no matter what. Might as well listen to somebody thinking positively. Okay. It's also the card I think of as like a threshold card, like a turning point perhaps. So like your life is listening to you right now. What have you been craving and yearning for? Like I felt when I was doing the astrology, I think this is the month where they like things can really solidify. And so pay attention with this card. I think of like decisions, introductions, timing windows. Things can move pretty fast under the Magician's energy. And it's like intention can translate into action more directly than usual. It's kind of opposite of like drifting energy or stagnancy. This is very exciting. It's directed. And because we're stepping into that new month, the collective six in the one, it's like relational manifestation through personal choice, perhaps through boundaries, through not over operating and over nurturing. What do you say yes to now begins to shape things into May. So you're not waiting for permission is kind of what I want to say. You're not behind, all those things. And so predictively with the Magician, I would say it could be like a conversation that opens the door, a decision that speeds something up, a connection that becomes useful or just more like exciting, an idea that you act upon. When things just start moving, it's just think of like magic, right? It's so on the nose. And if you thought something was maybe later, oh, when that happens, it's like it's happening now. So get ready. Okay. The Magician though, I always like to go over and give heads up of like what are some things to watch out for. I'm like, this amplifies intention of what's underneath the surface. So with the full moon in Scorpio, I'm like, okay, we got to make sure we are aware of what's going on under our surface. What's in that subconscious? What's in the fear? Say you want to manifest like great success, but then there's a subconscious fear somewhere locked inside of like, I can't handle success. So tend to those things. And also this card reminds us to act from clarity because things will line up quickly. So if you're acting from anxiety or like urgency, impatience, or trying to control outcomes. So Scorpio and Taurus coded, fixed signs, control, things can feel scattered just as fast. So you can like say you're putting a spell on something and then it blows up in your face. Think of magic in that way. So this is absolutely manifestation energy, but manifestation always starts with honesty. Like you gotta practice good magic, right? Not the dark arts. For my single people in dating, when I see the magician is like attraction that responds to like action, or you can think of an engagement. Like I'm going to be engaged in my love life. You're not just gonna sit and poof manifest somebody at your door. So it's not, it's saying like don't be passive as you enter May. And it's that 6 month, you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you're single, please. So put in the work. This is the week that connections into May can feel like I'm involved instead of just observing. Somebody may literally step forward. You might be that person that steps forward, or the tone between you and somebody else shifts from maybe to like, let's see, interesting, as you saw with the astrology, right? So notice who communicates clearly versus who keeps things vague is something that I would point out with a magician. Because like intentions can reveal quite quickly. Uh, the magician makes me think of like at its worst, like fuckboy energy of just like chasing chemistry, and then they're manipulative. Just think of like using their magic for the worst. So let intentions reveal, okay? Pay attention to who feels consistent, like between what they say and what they do. So that signal's really strong. If somebody's telling you they had the best first date ever and then they don't fucking reach out, that's the worst. Okay. Their actions don't match their words. So that signal is very clear right now. So I would say predictively for my singles, there can be a message or an invitation or just a conversation this week that develops a relationship, or a realization within yourself. If you literally are like, I'm not promising everybody meets somebody this month. So it could just be like noticing with Scorpio energy who you attract and who is that negative magician energy, who's all talk and all chemistry and just I think with the magician, it's like I'm seeking the ego validation of great first dates. It's like seeking the dopamine hit of attraction. And then it's like Venus and Gemini, like I just want more of that instead of honing in. Are you noticing those types? Like you're going to be so quick to it now with this magician card, and you're going to like really just not be so swayed by words anymore. Actions need to match, okay? It's going to feel clear, not confusing when it's right. So whether you're getting a lesson in this or you're getting a reward in this is up to how far we've come with our patterns, okay? If you are already in a relationship, partnered, or just think of relationships of all kinds, the magician is kind of like that power of choosing how you show up instead of reacting like automatically, okay? Honest conversations kind of change the direction of something. You could be manifesting something with your partner, like with your talents and ideas combined, really creating something pretty cool and magical. This could be just a week when you are planning together or making a big decision, or we're defining something, or simply a week where like you're just more productive together or direct or having conversations. And it doesn't have to be super dramatic. If this is like, you know, business partner relationship or family or best friends, same thing. You can influence the dynamic more than you thought you could when there's conversations on the table. So I think clarifying expectations, shared direction, next steps, going over these things. This is exciting energy, what I'm feeling for those that are like partnered. I'm like creating something, manifest. This is the card of manifestation. So this is like everything kind of lining up. The magician holds all of the like suits in it. So it's it has the cups, the wands, the swords, and the pentacles. It like uses all of these tools. So it's got everything you need to go for it. The only heads up is like, be careful when like whoever you're dealing with is more in the strategic side of conversations. Sorry, my dog attacked my cat. And it's like suddenly something becomes obvious between you and somebody else. It's like the disruption of alignment. Okay. For those that are working 9 to 5, I always go over love and then work, and I break them up because I feel like we have a variety of listeners, right? So with 9 to 5ers, the magician, I'm like, boy, like this is somebody you can wear many hats. Maybe you're looking for jobs or you're getting noticed for your talents and you're not just one note, or maybe you're craving work that's not as one note. Okay. And like maybe you're realizing I have more skills than are being utilized here. But at the best, it's like this is like a card of like you've got influence, you're realizing your voice carries more weight than you assumed. This is a card of leverage. It's a strong week for asking questions. Maybe you're the one proposing the ideas, initiating conversations, repositioning yourself inside a team or in a role, or something you say now tends to like travel further than usual. You can be like at the big scale asked to speak on a panel or share your perspective, and it like reaches more. If it's more of like in a team dynamic, you could be taking the lead of a project. It's also like a week where your skills that you've already have become more visible. So it's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just kind of like, oh, I never noticed that you were good at that. Would you mind getting involved with this project, even if it's not your direct report type of thing? Okay. So conversations, again, I'm going to say it ad nauseum, are the main theme here. There can be a conversation or an initiative that can shape like new responsibilities, new talents, new opportunities. I think of the like 9 to 5ers, even though it's 9 to 5, I'm like the magician does many things. So if you're somebody that's like, yeah, I have a 9 to 5, but I also have a side hustle. So listen to both sides because I'm about to go into entrepreneurs and side hustles. But you could be like, I want to gain that skill. It's in my magic hat that I can pull out and I'm shocking people with it. So develop those things or let them be seen. Raise your hand and say like, hey, by the way, I actually know this thing. Is this going to be helpful? The heads up with magician, I think of just like be careful of like over promising or saying yes too quickly, just because the momentum is there. So this will open doors fast, but discernment is important. Okay. Do you really have the skills? Do you really want to do and use those skills in that way? All right. For my entrepreneurs, manifestors of side hustles and dreams, any and all of those above, creators, builders, whatever. It's the one like card that I love for like this is manifesting the things that you're creating, whether that's messages landing, visibility increasing, opportunities responding to what you've put into motion already, the skills you already possess that are maybe so natural to you. You're like, oh, I didn't even realize that that's the thing that's taking off. Like, I was so busy pushing this thing and trying to control this thing, and then boop, here it is. So this is a week where it's like post the thing, pitch the thing, have the conversation, do the introduction. If an idea has an impact more than it typically does, that's a thing that can happen this week. It's also a reminder with magician is like clarity does matter, and it attracts things faster than just strategy. Okay, this is natural. Okay, you're dealing with like even in this visual, it's like it's blooming from this woman's head. She's got all this knowledge of, it's got the sun and the moon, and I'm guessing Mercury is this other planet. And it's like you possess it all, okay? So just be clear with it. And strategy feels more mental. This feels more like attraction magnetism from natural gifts, okay? So when your voice sounds like you and no one else, you're not strategizing what's going to be a hit or what's going to get people to sign up, etc. People recognize it. So Predictively, like something that happens or something that you initiate this week, even if it's small, can become a thread that runs through the rest of the month. So pay attention to these thoughts and ideas. And then the heads up to wrap it up is like, don't try to do everything at once. The magician has all these skills, right? And sometimes that can confuse clients or your audience. And so don't scatter your energy across like 10 different directions. You can think of four with the magician, the four suits. So choose something that actually represents your work more and move there first. That's where the traction is going to be. But overall, we love to see the magician. It is that fresh start card. It's the one, it's after the fool. And you can think of like May 1, full moon, magician time. Okay. So excited for you guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Be back next week. I'm, still getting these going, still doing it. We'll see. Okay. All right. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.